What's up? It's your girl Neesh and welcome back to another episode of Laughing and Crying. You know, I be here. This podcast explores both the beautiful and the painful experiences that relationships can bring. And yes, sometimes that means the relationship we have with ourselves, which we're going to kind of be talking about today. So prepare to laugh at all the stupid mistakes that we make in relationships so that we can ultimately learn from them and heal from them. Guys, healing is so important. I know I don't necessarily stress that a whole lot, but healing is so important. The places that you are not healed, you will bleed on the people around you. It's just the reality of it. Whatever those things are, you do not have them as concealed as you think that you do. Let's just be real. Of course, if you're new, welcome. And you're welcome for getting so deep so fast. Okay? I'm excited that you're here. And for everyone else, what's up, Podcastland? Welcome back. And thanks for being my people. Podcastland, I'm challenging you first. If you think more people should listen to this show, you can help me. Let's say it together. You can help me. You can help me get the podcast noticed by sending an episode to a friend, writing a review on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't yet, stop now. Go write your review. Don't make me call you out, Podcastland, especially Niche Gang, okay? By writing a review on Apple Podcasts and, of course, share on social media. If you yourself want to go deeper into the topics that we talk about, laugh a little bit harder, join me over on Patreon for the Patreon community. If you have a podcast episode idea that you want me to hear, Patreon would be the place to tell it to me. That's where I go for inspiration. Also on Patreon, you get the podcast early, you get the video version of the podcast, personal vlogs, and anything else I want to put up there. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Today's show, we're going to have, let me tell you a story, tell you a story, tell you a story. Just kidding. On today's show, we're going to start with, let me tell you a story. And then I have a conversation about do the thing that I'm excited about. So you should get excited about it. Don't leave. It's a good conversation. Anyway, the story that I have for you today. So it's a story so I told you guys a couple episodes ago that I used to work at ski resort in Pennsylvania. Well, this was my first time on anybody's ski resort. And I was like, I'm going to go do the ski things. Okay. So I get there and I was like, you know what's even cooler than skiing? Snowboarding. So I was like, I'm going to snowboard, right? So I get my gear. Guys, it's all a thing. You have a whole preparation process. I don't even know what the words are called anymore, but you get that little jumper suit that you put that's got the little padding in it, and it's like overalls, but they're not called overalls. And then you got your boots and your socks. You got your long johns under your overalls. You got your jacket. You ready to rock. And they teach you how to put your snowboarding boots or your ski boots on or whatever, and how to like clip them into the snowboard or your skis, whichever one you're doing. I was snowboarding. So, and you know, you walk your snowboard over to like the bunny slopes if you're new, and you look all cool like the other people out there with the snow, and you carry your snowboard like you've done it for years, even though you're new at it, right? So I'm going to the bunny slope and I'm like, okay, I got this, sliding down the thing. I got it. Okay. So I do that a couple times. I'm good to go. My confidence is up. I fell one time, and after that it was on. I was snowboarding. I'm like, look at me. And the bunny slope, they call it a bunny slope and they say it's like quote practice, but the bunny slope is low key a hill. So I'm like, I'm really like feeling like this is good stuff. Needless to say, I'm still with those friends that I talked about before. One of them doesn't know how to ski or snowboard. The other one is like a pro. So he's like, yo, let's go down like the blue slopes or whatever it's called. And I'm like, that's not black. I always heard black diamonds. That's bad. So I was like, blue slopes. Yes. Let's do the blue slope. So here I am, confidence up. I think maybe We had like a drink prior to this just to like shake nerves off a little bit. So I'm like really feeling it. I'm like, let's go. Got my snowboard. You got to get on I don't know what they're called. Honestly, I don't remember. But the little seats that move, they come all the way down to the ground. You sit on them. Now, I've always seen this on TV. And y'all be real. Be real with yourself. You don't know how they work either. Okay? Don't be judging me over here. Basically, you clip into either your snowboard or your skis. The thingy comes down. You just have to sit on it. There is no, let's stop it. Like, this is the merry-go-round. You put your little seatbelt on. No. It's literally like a bench that you sit on it or it's going to knock you over. So it doesn't stop, and it goes very far into the air. And you have your snowboard still connected, so that's how it gets up there, or your skis or whatever. So I sit on it, me and my friend, and the pro guy. I think we took different ones. I think the snowboard pro guy went in the chair thingy ahead of us, and we got the next one. So we sit down in the chair thingy. It's just like it keeps going up higher and higher. Now I'm not scared of heights. I have a fear of falling though. And so I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is nice. Look, we can see all the slopes. We can see all the people. They look like ants. And then what they don't also prepare you for is that it gets to a point and you're just supposed to get off. Remember, it does not stop. And so as I'm getting to this point, I'm seeing all these people just like hopping off. And I'm like, wait. I thought that this was a situation. We get to the top of the slope. We get off. It's flat. We might, chit chat a little bit. And then we can figure out whether or not we want to go down. Doesn't work like that. And once you're off the chair thing, the only way down is down. So I'm sitting here like, what did I get myself into? Because the blue slope, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, skiers, there goes like the bunny slopes, the green slope, then the blue slope. I may be wrong. Matter of fact, let me look it up. Okay, so I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping at all. I looked it up. Yes, I am correct. It is the green slope because I was traumatized. So yes, I was right. So it's the green slope, the blue slope, the red slope, the black slope. The bunny slope comes before the green. We went down the blue slope, guys. I look at this freaking mountain because it's no longer a hill. The bunny slope was a little hill. I don't see the bottom. All I see is slope. Like I'm literally on the side of a mountain. And so I'm like, okay. And my friend's like, oh, you got it. So me and my friend who were together sitting on the thing, we both have not done this before. We're both on snowboards. And he's like, we got to do it. The only thing that's making me do this is the fact that I don't really know what happens if I don't get off. My assumption is that I just go back down, but I don't know how many people do that. So I'm like, I don't know if I try to go back down, will I slip off and fall? I don't know. All these things are going through my mind. So we jump off the thing, and legit, you pretty much just start going. Now, let me tell you, nobody taught me how to turn. Nobody really taught me how to stop. My friend is screaming to us, you got it. There is nothing on the sides of the slope. I mean, granted, it's pretty wide, but if you don't know how to turn and you don't know how to stop, it's not that wide. So there's nothing on the sides of the mountain keeping you from falling off of the mountain. Okay? So here I am going down the mountain, trying to stop, and I'm having to like learn as I go. Like my friend is like stopping, waiting for us to catch up. There was a point though, this is the part that's like burned into my brain. There was a point at which I was going sideways on the mountain. I was literally like, I'm about to die because I could not stop. And somehow I was snowboarding not down, I was snowboarding across. Okay, so what I did learn after a while is that to slow down on a snowboard, you have to like engage the edge of the snowboard. Or sometimes just to slow down, you just turn your snowboard sideways versus like horizontal versus vertical. if you're talking about in reference to the mountain. Okay. I was not engaging the edge. I was not doing anything. I was just skiing off the mountain. And my friends are like, stop. And I'm like, I don't know how. And I'm like, this is like worse than somebody teaching you how to ride a bike and not teaching you how to stop. This is like life, death, mountains, they don't find people. So everybody else is like cracking up when I tell you, worst thing ever. I threw myself onto the ground because I didn't know what else to do. And then I start rolling down the mountain. And this is not a joke. And it hurt so bad. It's not a game. It hurt so bad. And then finally, the pro snowboard guy catches up to me and is able to help stop me from rolling. And I'm just sitting there. Don't want to cry because it's so freaking cold that my tears would probably freeze. And I'm just sitting there like, what do I do? And then he's like, there's nothing else you can do. But the most embarrassing thing that I could do, like if somebody was hurt, they bring out the whole thing and I got to carry you down the mountain. And I was like, no, this is embarrassing enough. I'm not doing that. But I had to just go down the mountain. And at this point, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. Whatever. So literally what they taught me how to stop. Literally what I do is I like go down the mountain, stop. Go down the mountain, stop. Go down the mountain, stop. And then at some points, I was just on my butt, scooting down the mountain, hoping that I would not slip because this thing is so gigantic. And there are people like zooming by me, not caring. And then my friend is like the snowboard guy. He's like, I can't do this. And he just like goes down to the bottom. My other friend is like, come on. My other friend is like, come on. Like, I'm like, what? So I'm literally like, I was like, I regret all of this. And I'm like scooting my butt down the mountain. Because I do not want to get up. I mean, long story short, eventually I get up, go down the bottom of the mountain, never get on a blue slope again. I get on the green. Somebody eventually convinced me to get on the green slope, which was like perfect for me. And I was still scared, but I was able to like navigate and learn a little bit more and not feel like I was dying. But anyway, that was one of the more traumatizing times of my life, being on a big icy snowy mountain about to fall off and die. I felt very vulnerable, so anyway, Unleashthaneesh, whatever. All you pro snowboarder skier people out there, I don't care. Do it. Guess what? At this age of my life, you won't catch me on it. You will not catch me on it. But I tell this story because we're about to go into our conversation. Part of the reason I picked this story, because it's embarrassing and a little bit funny, but also because the whole conversation that I want to get in today is to do the thing. Now, I went down the blue slope. It sucked. Don't know why my friends suggested it. Terrible friends. But the reality is, even when I got to the bottom, I got up, tried the green slope. Prior to ever snowboarding, I could have passed and said, hey, that's not for people of my kind. I'm going to go have hot chocolate by the fire. But I did it. And it's one of the most memorable, albeit tragic, moments of my life. I think that in your relationship with self, in my relationships with myself, one of the things that I fight so hard with is doing something scared. Avoiding something that's hard. I think I have a really, really hard time with pushing myself to do a thing, and especially to do a thing consistently, because I think there's one thing like going down a slope for the first time and trying something and saying I don't like it, but there's something else to be said about somebody who gets up and tries the green slope, and I'm proud of myself for that moment. Not bragging, well, a little bit, I'm bragging a little bit, but not on a high horse about it. Just really, really trying to hone in on the fact that there are moments in our life where we go down the blue slope and it's hard and it sucks, but we don't celebrate the moments that we get up and go down the green slope in an effort or maybe even in a hope to go down the black slope one day, right? But here's the thing I can guarantee, and something that I've learned in my life, even with this podcast, man, something that I've learned in my life for sure. in my relationship with self is if you never do the thing, you'll never even get to the green slope. A little bit about me. I still call myself newly married, but I've been married for almost 2.5 years. I still think that's newly married, but some people think that's a little seasoned. I got a little Lowry's, whatever. I am a 30-something newly married woman of faith. I believe in Jesus, and I love relationships. I've had a lot of turbulent relationships, but getting married was the catalyst of me being like, I need to open my mouth about things that happen in relationships, because there are so many people struggling in relationships who think they're the only one. And when I got married was the time where I'm like, I need someone to speak up about what relationships really are, about what marriage really is, about what should I expect? What is a terrible expectation to have? How do I navigate when somebody's different than me, when somebody has a different opinion than me, when things are just very uncomfortable? I've had a lot of relationships in my life that I've just dumped, got rid of. Some, I'm not gonna lie, it was a good thing that I did that. Some, it was not so great. Some, it was just easier to do that than to figure out how to do it better. Maybe I didn't know how to have a hard conversation, or maybe I felt things but kept my mouth shut, and things just ended and died. And I told myself after about 6 months of being married, if like my story is valuable to someone, my circle is, yay big. I'm not really reaching the people who may need to hear these things. And there was very few resources that were out there that I could really take in, or that were even being advertised, right? The thing that I latched on the most, if you have not heard of this podcast, the Love Hour podcast, go listen to the Kev on Stage and Melissa Fredericks, one of the podcasts that helped me with relationships. Theirs is tailored to romantic relationships, but still there's really good nuggets of gold in there. But I just realized that in my situation, there wasn't a very loud voice or very prominent voice helping someone like me. So I was like, everybody's like, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. And I'm like, I'm not doing a podcast. You know how much work that is? Nobody wants to hear from me. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And then eventually I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm just going to do it, period. And it's scary. It still is scary. It's scary. It's hard. Recording sometimes can be very complicated. It's fun. It's definitely fun. Hearing when it impacts people's lives is great. It's nothing about it is instant gratification. I just want to put that out there if you're deciding or wanting to do a podcast. But the reality of it is I'm in it. When I look back on the moment when I said, I'm going to do it, and I look to see how far I've come, even through all of the frustration and the wanting to quit, I'm so happy to see that progress. I'm so happy to see that I did something that I said I would do. And I think that that's what I want to talk about today is do the thing. We always want to say that we want to believe in the people around us, and we want to support the people around us. We want to cheer on the people around us. But are you doing that for yourself? Are you doing the thing? Are you cheering you on? Are you supporting you? Because if you're not doing it for you, it probably means that the capacity to which you could do it for someone else, you have not reached. Because there's nothing like believing in yourself. I say this because I'm literally doing it. And the podcast is only one of those things, right? But it's a huge thing. So here's a couple points that I've learned along my journey. Time will pass. I say this because I think about, well, what if I had done this podcast a year ago? What if I had not waited till I got married, till things really put it in focus that I need to tell my story? How many more people would have impacted? And even in the present time, sometimes I'm like, what if I had more aggressively advertised this? What if more people knew about it? How would it really be impacting the world? But all along, time is passing, to which I can't see that growth. I can't see those numbers move. I can't see that progress. right? Because time is passing. And if you keep waiting, you'll realize every day how much further along the people around you are because they didn't wait. And you'll keep thinking about where you could be if you would have, should have, could have. And nobody wants that, right? I don't want that. So that's one of the things that really, really stick out in my mind when I'm thinking about giving up on something, or I'm thinking about starting something and believing in myself. It's like time is one of those resources that you can't get back, and it's passing. It's not coming back. So the thing that you could have started at 25 and now you're 30, start at 30, because soon you'll be 35 and all of that time will have passed, right? The next thing is show yourself that you believe in you. So to me, that means showing up for yourself. To me, that means saying yes. So when your friend comes and says, I have this crazy idea, I'm going to do this thing, and you're like, you'd be perfect for that. Are you giving yourself those same type of affirmations? That you'd be perfect for that. What is your thing? Do you want to start a podcast? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to get into a new job? Do you want to start a hobby? Do you want to play the piano? What is it? Do you want to get on top of your finances? Like, do the thing. This one was the hardest for me to learn, which is that you have to learn to fail publicly in order to succeed publicly. So this is the one that I get scared of a lot is, man, people are going to know that I only have this many people that listen to my podcast, or people are going to know that maybe I put a podcast out that just really, really sucks and nobody wants to tell me, but I know it really sucks and they know it really sucks and whatever. But I think that the reality is, if you don't do it and you don't fail, you won't know how to pivot. You won't know how to fix it so that it gets to a place of success, or whatever success means for you. I contemplate quitting this podcast and quitting some of the other ventures that I have in my life going on, because I'm afraid that people are going to be able to watch me fail, like almost like in front of a crowd, like everyone's going to be watching me fail. And my sister says this all the time. I think she learned it from someone else. And she says, the people who get to places that you want to be are willing to feel the feelings that you don't want to feel. And sometimes failing publicly means that you feel shame, that you feel sadness, that you feel embarrassment, that you feel all these things. But the people who succeed, the people who get to the place that you want to be, are like, I can feel that. I'm good with feeling that. I'm okay with tucking my tail. I'm okay with saying that didn't work. And, as people, we got to be able to figure out how to do that. And, I'm learning myself, how do I gracefully go through this space of doing this podcast when some things won't work? How do I deal with trolls on the internet who tell me I suck? How do I, deal with all of those things? How do I deal when people dislike my videos for whatever reason people do that? It's just don't watch it. You know what I mean? You don't have to dislike it. Why is there even a dislike button? That's silly. But anyway, all of those things, right? Okay. And the last one is, you can't wait on the people around you to support you, which is kind of contradicting what I said earlier, because a lot of times it's like we always want to support the people around us, but we don't want to support ourselves. But here's the thing that I learned doing this podcast, especially. People know you as you. And if people knew you before you were you today, if people have known you for a very long time, they know you as your earliest version of you. And they see you as your earliest version of you. So if you're trying to do something that's much bigger than you, and you're trying to grow yourself to a place that's much bigger than you, this is even true when you're talking about growing your character or deepening your faith, or changing your mindset. People remember your old mindset. People remember when you didn't believe. People remember your your more unsuccessful ways of being. People remember when you were lazy or when you were frivolous or whatever it may be. That's what people remember. They don't see your success until you show them. But the people around you who didn't know you, they have no bias towards you. So if you say, I'm an expert, they believe you until you tell them otherwise or show them otherwise. And this is what I've learned. It's not that people don't support you. It's that sometimes the people around you, your family, your best friends, the people closest to you, you kind of got to show them who you're gonna be. You don't have to show them who you are because you've already shown them who you are. But if you decide you want to change your mind, sometimes it means showing them who you're going to be and telling them who you're going to be. So sometimes it means standing in the face of adversity when it comes to your family and friends and saying, this is what I'm going to do. And not saying, I'm trying this podcast thing, but saying, I'm a podcaster. That's what I do. That's my thing. My podcast is doing really well. And you got to show them who you are. I'm a YouTuber. I'm an influencer. Yeah, I'm a CEO of a company that's mine. I'm a CEO of a company that's not mine. I'm a wife. Period. Right? Like, sometimes people who've known you since you were like wee little, or people who have known you in different seasons of your life, they still see you in that season. And sometimes it gets in the way of them really, really, really pushing you in the season that you want to be in, because they don't really buy in 100%. And I think honestly that sometimes this is a good thing and a bad thing, because if you think about, at times you hear siblings and family members of celebrities who say things like, oh, they're always going to be such and such to me. Where there's people around you that will keep you humble. Like if you do truly blow up, or an idea that you have, or a business that you have, or whatever you have, it kind of gets ahead of you. There'll be people around you keeping you humble and saying, you still Nisha, and don't act like, you know what I mean? You still Beyonce. You're not Beyonce to me. You're just Beyonce Knowles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still Nisha to the people who know me most and love me most. So even if I'm the quote podcaster, to them I'm Nisha. And sometimes that could be a good thing to have people like that who aren't gonna fill your head with air. But then sometimes it can be somewhat of a negative thing, right? When the people around us aren't encouraging us in the place that we want to be, who aren't saying, yes, I love your work, like you're great, like really encouraging, keep going, because they don't know how to do that, because you're simply insert your name here to them. And so it's definitely this like back and forth thing that I do of like, man, I wish these people would support me more. But then the thought of people knowing me in a very true way, that the people who will listen to my podcast don't know me, I think it's a gift. So anyway, those are the things that I keep in mind when I'm having to do very hard things, when I'm having to do the scary things. Is like, hey, time's going to pass on me if I don't jump. I got to tell myself I believe in me before I want anybody else to tell me that. I have to learn how to fail graciously. I have to learn how to fail in style, because otherwise there is no success without failure. Success is a succession of failure, honestly. And you can't wait on the people around you to be the only people to support you. You have to get your name out to other people. You have to put your weight on, if you will, people who don't know you, who wouldn't support you unconditionally. Sometimes you have to risk someone saying, this sucks. You're not doing it right. You're not qualified, in order for you to really, really get to the place that you want to be. So, how do you feel about that conversation? How do you feel about doing the thing that's in your head? I can hear it. It's so prominent. somebody's telling you, something's telling you, whether it's your faith that's driving it, whether it's, your partner, whether it's a friend telling you, you should do this thing. What's your thing? Let me know. If you're confident, if you're willing, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, DM me, let me know what's your thing. Just telling me is another form of accountability, right? Make no mistake, I would love to hear what you love most about this particular podcast. And if there's a topic that you want me to talk about, that you're like itching for me to talk about, I'm here for that too. Like I said, hit me up on Instagram at Unleashthaneesh, where I'm most active. And you can also find me on any other platform, also at Unleashthaneesh. And that's Unleash, THA, niche. If you have interest in getting the podcast early, getting the video versions of the podcast or vlogs with myself and my family, join the Patreon. Head to patreon.com/unleashthaneesh. That's Unleash, THA, niche, to join the niche gang. That's what I call the Patreon community, niche gang. So come on over. You can be part of the niche gang if you like. And I guess that's it. Maybe we can impact the world or something. I don't know. I'll leave you with that. Bye.